Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Open University.
Hello, dear students. Today we are going to learn about Unit 3 Evolutionary Process Model, where we are going to focus on one specific process model, which is a software prototyping model. So let's learn about this software prototyping model. So, dear students, our agenda of today's lecture is on your screen, where we are going to learn about prototyping model. Then we will learn about some of the points that you have to remember. Then we will go for different phases of prototyping model. Then we will go for types of prototyping model. Then we will learn about some of the applications of software prototyping model. Then we will go for advantages and disadvantages of software prototyping. Then we will see some of the uses of software prototyping. Then we have some of the issues that we are facing in software prototyping model. And at last, we will go for the conclusion. So let's start, dear students, with the definition of software prototyping model. Here, actually, the prototyping model is a systems development method in which a prototype is built, tested, and then reworked as necessary until an acceptable outcome is achieved, from which the complete system or product can be developed. So let's understand the definition of prototyping model. The prototyping model is a method used in the development of systems or products where an initial version known as a prototype is constructed, then subjected to testing and subsequently refined as needed until it meets predetermined standards. So this iterative process continues until the prototype reaches a satisfactory level of functionality, usability, and alignment with the project requirement. So once this milestone is reached, the refined prototype serves as the foundation upon which the entire system or product is built. In essence, the prototyping model emphasizes a cycle of building, testing, and refining with the ultimate goal of creating a robust and effective final solution. Or software prototyping can be defined as a software development methodology that involves creating an initial prototype of the software product before developing the final product. Now, the prototype is a working model of the software product that can be used to gather feedback and refine the design before the final product is developed. Now, the prototyping model is particularly useful for projects where the requirements are not well defined or are likely to change over time. The prototyping model can help to reduce the risk of developing a software product that does not meet the need of the end users or stakeholders, we can say, while also reducing development time and cost. The prototyping can be developed using different methods such as throwaway prototyping, evolutionary prototyping, and incremental prototyping. Now, the prototyping model can be used in conjunction with other software development methodologies such as agile development to create software products that meet the needs of end users and stakeholders. Now, prototyping is a software development methodology that focuses on the use of working models that are constantly refined based on the feedback from the end user. Now, prototyping is most commonly used to develop systems with significant end user interaction and complex user interfaces. So, because it allows for the capture of customer requirements at the early stage of the software development, then prototyping is, we can say, becoming increasingly popular as a software development model. It allows for valuable customer feedback and assist software designers and developers in understanding what is expected directly from sales. Now, the term software prototyping refers for the process of creating software application prototypes that demonstrate the functionality of the product under development but may not contain the exact logic of the original software. Now, in our next slide, we have some of the points you can see. So these are the points to remember for you, my dear students. Actually, the prototype can be a limited functionality software performance model. Here, the prototype does not always contain the exact logic used in the specific software application and is an additional effort to be considered when estimating efforts. Now, prototyping is used to allow users to evaluate and test developer proposals before they are implemented actually. So it also aids in understanding the user specific requirements that will not be considered by the developer during a product design. In our next slide, you can see prototyping model phases, right? You can have various phases of prototyping model that you can see on your screen right now. So you can see various steps also. In step one, we can say it's requirements gathering and analysis. In the next step, we have quick design. Then we will go for build a prototype. After it, initial user evaluation is there. Then refining prototype, and at last, we can say implement product and maintain. So now let's understand each step in a brief. So in first step, we have seen requirement gathering and analysis. So here requirement analysis is the first step in developing a prototyping model. During this phase, the system's desires are precisely defined. Here during the method, the system users are interviewed to determine what they expect from the system. In the next step, quick design. The second phase could consist of a preliminary design or a quick design. During this stage, the system's basic design is formed. However, it is not a complete design. It provides the user with a quick overview of the system. Now, the rapid design aids in the development of the prototype. Then we will go for the step third. So, in the third step, that is build a prototype. Here, during this stage, an actual prototype is intended to support the knowledge gained from the quick design. It is a small, low-level working model of the desired system. In the next step, that is initial user evaluation. The proposed system is presented to the client for preliminary testing at this stage. So it is beneficial to investigate the performance model's strengths and weaknesses also. Now, customer feedback and suggestions are gathered and forwarded to the developer. Next step is refining prototype. Here, if the user is dissatisfied with the current model, then customer may want to improve the type that responds to user feedbacks and suggestions. When the user is satisfied, then with the upgraded model, so a final system based on the approved final type is created. Then next step is implement product and maintain. So here the final system was fully tested and distributed to production after it was developed to support the original version. To reduce downtime and prevent major failures, the programmer is run on a regular basis. Then in our next slide, we have some of types of prototyping model. So you can see four types of prototyping models are there. First one is rapid throwaway prototypes. Then we have evolutionary prototype. Then we have incremental prototype. And last one is extreme prototype. So let's understand about our first type, that is rapid throwaway prototype. Here the preliminary requirement is used for quick throwaway. It is quickly developed to show how the need will appear visually. Now, customer feedback aids in the movement of demand change, and the prototype is recreated until the need is basic. So, as a result, the upgraded version is rejected and cannot be last accepted types. Now, this program aids in the testing of ideas and in the rapid response to we can say customer needs. Next one is evolutionary prototyping. Here, it assists you in avoiding both time and effort waste. This is due to the fact that performing a specific type from the start of each method of communication can be time consuming. So this model is useful for a project that involves the use of an unknown replacement technology. It is also used in high-end projects where each feature must be tested only once. So it's useful when the need isn't stable or isn't clearly understood at the start. Then we have third one, that is incremental prototype. So the final product is we can say decimated into small prototypes and developed individually in incremental prototyping. So the various prototypes are eventually combined into a single product, we can say. This method is useful for reducing feedback time between the user and consequently the application development team. Then last one is extreme prototyping. In the extreme prototyping method is commonly used in web development. It is divided into three stages that must be completed in order. First step is HTML format contains a basic prototype of the current page. Then second one is a prototype services layer will allow you to simulate data processes. Then third one is the services are built and integrated into the final prototype. So let's discuss about software prototyping applications in brief. So the prototyping model in software engineering finds applications across various stages of the development lifecycle, including first one you can see that is requirement gathering and analysis, then design validation, proof of concept, then user feedback and iterative development. Then we have risk mitigation, then training and documentation. Then we have client communication and stakeholder management. Then we have quick feedback loops, incremental development. Okay, so let's understand these software prototyping applications and the stages of the development life cycle in brief. So first one is requirement gathering and analysis. So prototyping helps in extracting and refining user requirements by providing a tangible representation of the proposed system. Now users can interact with the prototypes to provide feedback and clarify their needs. The next we have design validation. Here, prototypes allows designers and stakeholders to validate design concepts and user interface elements before committing to full development. Now, this ensures that the final product meets usability and aesthetic requirements. Then we have proof of concept. Here, prototyping can be used to demonstrate the feasibility of a particular approach or technology. So, it helps in assessing the technical challenges and risk associated with implementing a solution. Then we have user feedback and iterative development. Here, prototypes facilitate early user involvement by providing a platform for users to interact with the system and provide feedback. This feedback loop enables iterative refinement of the prototype based on user input. Then we have risk mitigation. So, prototyping allows a developer to identify and mitigate potential risk early in the development process. So, by building and testing prototypes, teams can uncover technical challenges, usability issues, and other concerns about before actually they become critical problems. Then we have training and documentation. Prototypes can be used as training tools for end users and support staff. They provide a hands-on experience of the system functionality and can be accompanied by documentation to aid and learning. Then we have client communication and stakeholder management. Here, prototypes serve as effective communication tools for discussing project progress and eliciting stakeholder feedback. So, they provide a visual representation of the proposed solution, so making it easier for clients and stakeholders to understand and provide input. Then we have quick feedback loops. So, prototyping allows for rapid interaction and experimentation. Developers can quickly create and test multiple prototypes to explore different design alternatives and gather feedback from the stakeholders. Then we have ninth one, that is incremental development. So prototyping supports an incremental approach to development where functionality is added iteratively based on the user feedback. So this allows for the delivery of the valuable features early in the development process. So overall, the prototyping model is software engineering is versatile and can be applied in various contexts to improve the quality and effectiveness of the software development project. So in the next slide, some of the advantages of software prototyping. So here, users help to shape the future. As a result, errors can be discovered during the first stage of the software development process. Then we have prototyping is also considered a risk reduction big function because it allows non-existent performance to be seen, lowering the risk of failure. Then we have it assists team members in effectively communicating. Then we have customer satisfaction exists and he can feel the product from the start. Then there will be no risk of software loss. Then quick user feedback aids in the development of better software solutions. So if we simply want to understand these points, then we can say users play a big role in shaping how software is made, right? So then they help catch mistakes early on or even before the software is fully built. Now prototyping is like making a preview of the software before it's done, which helps lower the chances of things going wrong later. Now, prototyping also helps teams talk to each other better, making sure everyone understands what's being made. When users get to see and try out a prototype early on, it helps make sure that they will be happy with the final product. So, by using prototypes, we can avoid losing time and effort on the software that might not work in the end. So getting feedback from the users quickly helps make sure we are building a software that really works well for them. Now, in our next slide, we will go some of the disadvantages of software prototyping. Here, prototyping is a time-consuming and labor-intensive process. The cost of creating a specific type of waste is completely wasted because the prototype is eventually discarded. Now, the prototyping may result in an overabundance of the change requests. So, customers may be unwilling to commit to the iteration cycle for an extended period of time. Then we have during each customer test, there may be too many variations in software requirements. Then we have poor documentation as a result of changing customer needs. So let's understand more about these points. So prototyping in software development is super important because it helps us to get feedback early on and make sure we are building the right thing. But it comes with its own set of problems that we need to be careful about. First of making prototypes takes a lot of time and resources from our development team. And since prototypes often get thrown away later, it can feel like we are wasting resources, right? Plus, because we keep changing and improving the prototype, it can lead to a ton of extra work and request for changes. So, making things more complicated and possibly slowing us down also. Sometimes getting customers to stick with us through all these changes can be tough, especially if it takes a long time. And each time we test the prototype with customers, we might find even more things they want. So, making our job even harder, we can say. Lastly, since customer needs can change a lot during the prototyping phase, keeping track of all these changes can lead to messy documentation also. So, even though prototyping is great, we need to be smart about dealing with these challenges to make sure our software turns out to be the awesome one at the end. Now, in our next slide, we have some of the uses of software prototyping model. So some of the uses of the software prototyping model include, first one is requirement gathering. So let's understand about this requirement gathering. So the prototyping model is useful for gathering and refining requirements for a software product. So by creating a prototype, developers can get feedback from end users and stakeholders, which help to ensure that the software product meets their needs and requirements. Imagine you are planning a big party, right? But you are not sure what food everyone likes. So, with the prototyping model, it's like making a sample menu to see what people prefer before the party. So, by creating a prototype, developers can show it actually to users and stakeholders to get feedback and make sure the software meets their needs. Just like testing food samples to make sure everyone enjoys the party menu. So this is what the example is. Then next one is user testing, right? So actually the prototyping model is useful for testing the usability and functionality of the software product. So by creating a prototype, developers can get feedback from the end user, which helps to identify and issues or concerns, we can say, before the final product is developed. So actually the picture trying out a new game before it's officially released. So developers create a prototype of the game and let people and play it to find any problems or things that could be better. Similarly, with the prototyping model, developers make a rough version of the software and let users try it out. So this helps find any issues or concerns early on before the final product is made. Just like testing a game before it's launched to make sure players have fun. The third one is risk reduction. Here, the prototyping model can help to reduce the risk of developing a software product that does not meet the need of the end users or stakeholders. So, by creating a prototyping, developers can identify issues and refine the design before the final product is developed. So, which reduces actually the risk of costly rework and delays, we can say. Now think of building a sandcastle at the beach. So before making the final castle, you first build a small one to see if it works well or not. So in software development, creating a prototype is like building a small sandcastle to test if it holds up or not. So by finding and fixing problems early with the prototype, developers reduce the risk of making big mistakes later on. So which can save time and money also. Just like strengthening the sandcastle before making the final one to prevent it from collapsing. Then next one is faster development. Here the prototyping model can help to speed up actually the development process. So by creating a prototype, developers can get feedback and refine the design quickly, which helps to reduce the time and effort required to develop the final product. So imagine here you are drawing a picture, but you keep erasing and changing things until it looks just right. So with the prototyping model, developers quickly make a rough sketch of the software, get feedback and make improvement until it's perfect. So this speeds up the development process because they can fix problems sooner, like getting the picture right faster by making quick changes, which saves time and effort also. Then next one is cost reduction. Here the cost reduction, we can say the prototyping model can help to reduce the overall cost of software development by identifying issues and refining the design early on in the development process, we can say. Now developers can reduce the risk of costly rework and delays, which can ultimately save time and reduce costs. Now think of buying ingredients to cook dinner. If you plan carefully and buy only what you need, you save money. Similarly, with the prototyping model, finding and fixing problems early on is like planning ahead to avoid wasting ingredients, we can say. Now, by identifying issues early and making changes to prototype, developers avoid expensive mistakes later on. So now it's saving time and reducing cost, just like saving money by planning your dinner carefully. It's somewhat same. Now in our next slide, we have slide issues of software prototyping model. We can say incomplete requirements, then we have scope creep, then we have increased development cost, and we have technical debt, lack of scalability. Now let's understand each and every issues in brief. First one is incomplete requirements. The prototyping model is designed to help refine requirements through feedback from end user. However, if the initial requirements are incomplete or inaccurate, the prototype may not fully meet the needs of the end user or stakeholders. Imagine you are building a house, but you don't have all the details about how many rooms you need or where the kitchen should be. Similarly, in software development, if we don't have all the right information about what the users need, the prototype we make might not be very helpful. So it's like trying to build a house without knowing how many rooms it needs. Then second one is scope creep. So because the prototyping model encourages user feedback and refinement, it can be susceptible to scope creep. This can occur when new features or requirements are added to project, which can lead to delays and increased costs. Now, picture planning a party with your friends, but every time you talk about it, someone suggests adding more games, decorations, or food. So that's scope creep. In software, when we keep adding new features or changing things during the prototyping process, it can make the project bigger and more complicated also than we originally planned. So, just like planning a party can get out of control, adding too many new things to a project can lead to delay and cost more money. Then, next one is increased development cost. Here, while the prototyping model can help to reduce the overall cost of the software development, it can also increase cost in the short term. This is because the creation of prototypes requires time and effort, which can add to the development cost. Now, building a prototype is like making a rough draft of drawing before making the final artwork. It takes time and effort to create, and sometimes it costs more than we expect. Even through prototypes can help save money in the long run by catching problems early. They still need resources to make, like paying the people who build them and tools they use. Then fourth one is technical debt. Though, so the prototyping model can also lead to technical debt if the prototype is not properly designed or documented. So this can create issues down the line when the final product is developed. So which can lead to delays and increased cost also. Now think of technical debt like borrowing money that you have to pay back later with the interest if we rush through making a prototype without doing it properly. It's like taking a loan on our project's quality. We might save time now, but later on we will have to fix the problems we ignored, which can slow down the project and cost more money. Then next one is lack of scalability. Here the prototyping model may not be suitable for large or complex software projects. This is because the focus on rapid prototyping and user feedback may not be sufficient to address the complexities of a larger project. So here imagine trying to use a small recipe to cook for a big party. It might work for a small group, but for a large crowd, it's just not enough, right? So similarly, the prototyping model might not be best choice for big or complicated software projects because it's focused on quickly testing ideas with users. So large projects need more more careful planning and organization, which prototyping might not provide enough of. Then at last, we will have a conclusion slide. While the prototyping model offers numerous benefits in software engineering, including early user feedback and risk reduction, it also presents several challenges that demand careful management. So, from incomplete requirements to scope creep and increased development cost, each challenge underscores the importance of strategic planning and disciplined execution in the prototyping process. Additionally, the risk of technical debt and scalability issues further highlight the need for through documentation and consideration of project scope. So, despite these challenges, the prototyping model remains a valuable approach and iterative development and user-centric design. So, by acknowledging and addressing these challenges proactively, development teams can harness the power of prototyping to deliver high quality software solutions that meet user needs and expectations effectively. So, through continuous improvement and adaptation, the prototyping model can serve as a cornerstone for the innovation and success in software development endeavors. Thank you, dear learners, for learning very important topic that is prototyping software model. So, in this lecture, we have seen different points related with this software prototyping model. Thank you, dear learners.
स्वाध्यायः परः